So today we're going to talk about something that kind of goes with the season. This weekend is supposed to get down into the 30s. Not my type of weather. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not excited for it. But it is here. We don't have anything we can do about it. And so we're going to talk about cold tubs today. And cold tubs are something I get asked about frequently. And cold tubs can be a very good fit for your health. But for a lot of the population, they're not a good fit. And so we're going to dive in a little bit on this and kind of discuss, is this a good fit for you? Is it not a good fit for you? Cold tubs in general, the whole theory behind cold tubs is basically twofold. If you get into a cold tub, it's going to drop your body temperature. Your body is going to have to produce more heat. So what you end up doing is you burn calories to warm your body up. And that does two things. It shifts your body's metabolic capabilities. It makes you actually use energy, kind of like when you work out, you have to build more energy. If you get cold, you have to burn more energy to stay warm. And the other thing it does is it shifts the type of energy you're making. A lot of times you'll make energy for the purpose of energy utilization. So for like movement or different things like this moves more of your energy production toward heat production, right? So instead of it being reserved for outward motion, it is used for heat production to keep you warm. And so it's kind of a protective thing. And there are a lot of benefits to metabolic flexibility. And by metabolic flexibility, I mean that ability to go from using sugars to using fats to, making energy for outward mobility versus inward heat production or different. You have to have a variety of different abilities. And the more able you are to adapt to the environment you're in, the more successful you're going to be, whether that's in your athletic goals or in your health endeavors or whatever else, right? So it just kind of sets you up for some of those times when things aren't as easy as they would be before. So, back in the ancient days when we didn't have a meal for X number of days, or, it was really, really hot out and we didn't have air conditioning, or it was really, really cold and we didn't have heat, or different things like that, we were able to adapt to the environment. And that's obviously a good skill for us to have. It's something we should still be able to do. And this is something that can kind of move us toward that. Another example of that would be intermittent fasting. A lot of people are doing intermittent fasting, whether that be for 12 hours or 18 hours a day, 3-4 days, whatever it may be. That intermittent fasting puts you into a more flexible metabolic position, just like a cold tub can. Cold tubs, on the other hand, can be something that is a bad fit for people. It does take a lot of energy out of you. So when you start this, you have to be very, very careful if you are going to choose to start this. And the way that I would recommend people start on something like this is, if you are going to try it, just do the last minute of your shower. Some people are going to find that the last minute of their shower is too much, and it wipes them out and they are done. And those are going to be the people who are already really struggling with a health issue, whether that be chronic fatigue or an autoimmunity or something else where their energy levels are really, really low. 1 minute in a shower may be too much for them. That's a lot of time in there for somebody in that position, and it can be difficult. It can make you cold for an extended period of time. So just be ready for that reality. If you are in that situation, I would recommend you do not do a cold tub. Any kind of cold shower, anything like that, I don't think it's going to be a good fit for you. Once you can handle 1 minute, okay. For those that do try this and they do all right, bump it up a little bit. Work your way up to where you can do it for a few minutes. After you get to the point where you can do it for 5 minutes or so, then it's probably okay for you to jump into a cold tub of water for a little bit. And, I max mine out at about 20 minutes. That's what I found works really well for me. I do not throw extra ice into the tub. The groundwater here is about 50-55 degrees depending on the time of the year, and with that it's enough to stimulate those cold receptors, and that's really what's happening inside the body. So the mechanisms behind some of this is, when we get into that cold tub of water, we stimulate the cold receptors, and that changes the vascularity, right? It changes how much blood is flowing to different areas of the body. We end up taking some of the blood away from the periphery. We take it back to our core to keep us warm, and it can be very good for reducing inflammation and different things like that. So there are a lot of benefits to this. There are a lot of different variations. There are a lot of people that do throw ice in there. Like I said, I don't find it's necessary. I don't think that it's something that we really have to have because of where the cold receptors in your skin are going to be stimulated. Now, one other question that I commonly get with this is, how do I feel about the what I can't even I'm trying to think of what they call them. It's not the cold immersion, but the little stores where you go and you jump into, it does 2 or 4 minutes of a really cold blast of air. And all right, I'm not even going to try and put it politically. I don't like them. I was going to try to answer this politically, but it's the way that they market them is shady, and I don't like it. The research really goes back to, like I said, dropping your core body temperature. In the amount of time that you're in there, you're not really dropping your core temperature. Now, you are stimulating the cold receptors on the skin, and that does provide some benefit. You know, it forces you to take some of the blood away from the periphery, take it back to your core, and there is some benefit to that. It can be beneficial for inflammation. You know, if you have peripheral inflammation or anything like that, it can be beneficial in that way. But when they're promoting that, you know, weight loss, and that's not the research that was done. That's not the stuff. Yes, cold exposure has been shown to lead to weight loss because you burn more calories. But if you're not dropping your core temperature, you're not really burning those extra calories, right? So it's shadily marketed, and that's the thing that I'm not a fan of. I have done them, and I don't know, it was all right. I mean, it's easier on your body than jumping in a cold tub of water, but like I said, the benefits just they're overblown for what you really get out of it. So I shouldn't say I'm totally against it, because there is benefit to it, but the marketing is and can be very shady depending on where you go. So just be careful if you are going to do that. That it's okay to do that, and you know, especially when you're acclimating to this. So if you're looking at doing that instead of doing a minute in the shower, that's fine if that's what you prefer to do, and that's going to give you the ability to kind of start to acclimate to this. But the benefits that they advertise versus what you're actually going to get, probably not going to be the same. So just be aware of that. So how frequently do you do cold tubs? And that's kind of a personal preference. That's something that you can kind of come up with your own pattern on. As far as my personal preference, I do one at least once a week. There are times that I do them more frequently than that. For example, last week when I had poison ivy, I did a cold tub every single day, and the big reason for that is I was full of inflammation. It helps you pull out some of that inflammation. The cold numbs you up, so I could jump in a cold tub of water and I didn't itch for 3 to 4 hours. So you know, there's definitely benefits, and you can kind of work your schedule around how you want to do it. But I do one once a week throughout the winter anyway. Not always once a week through the summer. The reason for that, in the summer, I kind of scale back a little bit because it does change your ability to handle heat. If you are you're producing more heat in your body, you can't handle as much heat in the environment. So in the summer, I kind of scale back a little bit. I might do every other week. I might do once every 3 weeks, somewhere in that range. But I do not do them as frequently as the winter, where I definitely do once a week. So I hope that this helps you. I hope that this gives you a little bit of insight. I hope that you stay warm this week. Like I said, I'm not ready for this cold of temperatures. It's not something that I really want to see come in. But you know, it is what it is. We're here where we are, and we go forward from there. So if you found this helpful, if you like this, you know, hit the like or subscribe button. It really helps me figure out exactly what type of information to share. You know, I hope that you did find benefit to this, and if you did find it, you know, share it with somebody else that may benefit. But either way, it will help me figure out exactly what type of information is going to give you the most bang for your buck, and I can share more of that. So I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will talk to you soon.